In the early days, Tim played lots of ball. He played some college ball. He was D1 actually, and then he went to the majors. He was well known for being an aggressive shooter and up on the net, which would lead to his first major shoe deal. He actually got an amazing shoe. I had a pair of those. They were really comfortable. And you still see him out there today, signing shoes to the kids, which is always just great to see. But he had a stint with some gambling, and that led to baseball. But ultimately, he was actually great at golf, winning the Masters 3 times, which would lead him to the Olympics for golf, where he battled in Russia and had a miracle moment, winning the gold medal against the Russian golfer Zlatan, which would lead to him just running one day. He just started running. No one knows why. He just did that. But unfortunately, he had a rope swing accident, and that would lead to him no longer playing sports. But it wasn't always great for Tim, in the early days. There's always been Tims, in his past, in the history. There's Titus III. He was a Roman emperor, and he had really crazy gladiator games. They were wild. The animals is wild. Then there was Timotheus V. He was known as a kind ruler, and also burned people at the games. Timotep was a famous pharaoh back in the day, actually. And his son got swindled by a guy in a fancy jacket. And that would lead to a whole bunch of, you know what I'm saying? Some Tims have been throughout history. And it's not always been great, Sometimes they've had some dark moments in the past, but then they've had some good moments, They've been on both sides of history. As we've all been on both sides of history, So sometimes we're freeing the slaves. And sometimes we're on, modern game shows called Oops, Did He Really Do That? Where people get, they can win money by doing things in front of a big crowd that would seem really awkward and controversial. But he also made art. The Tims have made art throughout all history.
From ABC, this is World News Tonight.
And many celebrities were there the day the Berlin Wall came down. Tim was there the day it was built. And all throughout history, Tim has participated in military conflict. You will see a Tim. If there's a battlefield, there's a Tim leading men into battle.
We gotta get up that hill, boys.
Every battlefield, all throughout time, every jungle, every beach, even up into the modern deserts, we've seen Tim. And Tim has served. And it all really started after his injury, when he began doing stand-up comedy, and became famous for a bit known as Crazy Guy Face, which would get him the attention of a big shot studio exec who would start putting Tim in movies. His first movie was Sneaky Business, where he plays a burglar, and I didn't see this one, so I didn't really understand what this one was about. But then Brunch at Bradley's, and I didn't see this one either, and I couldn't find a clip of it. But then The Lord Works in Mysterious Ways. I remember this one. I think a lot of people remember this one. He plays like a priest, and he's also a detective. People would always used to be like, hey, it's the guy from The Lord Works in Mysterious Ways. It's that guy. And that's when Tim really started to get well known. Which would lead to a movie that me and my brother remember. The one where he's like a coach. It's like I See Dead People. He's a coach of like zombie kids, and he's got to teach the kids how to play hockey or something. Hey, we're not going to listen to you. You're a human. Yeah, and you don't have He's got to like show him like love, the power of love or whatever. But then only dollars left to give, and people started thinking, wow, this guy can act. This guy has chops. It didn't do too well at the box office, but people and critics loved it. Fans loved it. Yeah, this old time, I was walking the dusty trail myself. They actually thought about using Tim as the next James Bond, but plans fell through and there's only just a test screening. But that would eventually lead to The Father of God, one of his greatest breakout hits, huge moment, huge Academy Award nomination. he really showed off that he could be a little bit evil, you know, because he's normally played these like fun guys, these happy guys, and then here he really showed off his acting chops. He got the Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor. It was incredible. It was an upset that year. He beat out Jared Leto, and Jared Leto cut off his own wiener for his role, so it was a big moment that he was able to win just playing just a guy with everything intact. And cut. All right, that was a beautiful take, Tim. Tim, incredible. I think we're doing the big one here, guys. And that would lead to a couple other roles. Slick Talkers was awesome. I love Slick Talkers. That was a fun one. That Michael Bay movie with he's like a gangster, but it's like they're in Las Vegas and they're trying to figure things out. You know, they're trying to figure. That was a great one. And then Slick Talkers 2 was not as fun, not as well received. Slick Talkers 2. He actually was gonna play Russell Crowe's character in A Beautiful Mind, but they thought he was too smart. And then he did the boxing movie with the bad CGI. People didn't really like that. And then he had a cameo. He just had a small bit role in the sequel to The Passion of the Christ. You think we should get appetizers? Which was cool that he was doing cameos because he was pretty well known at this time. And even he was still doing stand-up comedy, which was incredible. He was a killer. He would just go out there and just murder on the stage. He was... Which actually got him a role as a celebrity judge on the talent show. Hey, that's pretty good. He was actually recorded winning $1 million at a casino one time. And then he was on local news for national news, actually, for being the first person to see a real alien, which got him invited to the White House, where he introduced the alien to the president, which was a momentous day for Tim, but also mankind. He would return the favor to the president later by stopping him from getting hit by a poisonous banana. This would allow him to be invited to do lectures on theoretical theories that he had, and he gave many lectures as a speaker guy across the nations in front of many smart people. But he's most known for winning Star Baker on the first episode of Cake Week for the Great British Bake Off. And unfortunately, in the next episode on Bread Week, he was eliminated because he presented a cake. And he also did Japanese ads. That was very few people know this. And after all of that, he still traveled around. He loved the green juice. He would just travel around, drive green juice. He drove around on some of the hardest drive-arounds. He would drive around real hard with the green juice, some of the hardest routes. You know, nothing easier? Well, there's nothing harder than some of the stuff Tim did. He would drove into Fallujah, Kabul, you know, Afghanistan. Some of the routes, you can't even believe how difficult some of these were. These are hard. And he would bring other people too, and they would just not. Tim, we can't do this here, Tim. Oh, hey, Tim, you see all these people with guns, Tim? You see, we should go back. But, you know, he met, one time a bus broke down, and he met his love of his life. But that's another story, because a bus one time was really hot, and he was carrying, you know, artifacts, and that led him to start his own ashram, where he became a guru. He had a guru full of an all-female guru, an all-female ashram, actually, and he was a guru. He actually learned to levitate. And they actually, in the West, they created a Bible character for him. He was known as Bible Guy. And he was like a super powerful. I think he was actually in one of the Marvel movies as Bible Guy. And he did some of the CGI for the Jurassic Park movies where he was the Raptors. And that, you know, he had that Tool show that one time. I remember the Tool show. Because there's so many memories, you know, and the never-ending story of Tim. But what really is a Tim? How many Tims are there?
What is Prime Tim? Who is Prime Tim? Who is the man behind the curtain? And does the curtain breathe?